Something in here is not allowing that. I got some loose. Okay. We don't need that one anymore. This area in here needs a little adjustment there. Oops. I think what we're going to do is just bring this down around too, because I see that we might need a little bit more fullness to define the chin so it's not so blocky. Okay. And then we can lose a few edge loops in here, or edges in here too. Maybe this one. And we have a pole here, which is not a good idea. So let's try to fix that. Wherever you add an edge loop, make sure you pull that out so you can see the difference in the volume of your character and it doesn't create a flat edge. Right here, this is a little creased in here, so let's bring this back out. And I notice that we have an edge loop that needs to be finished out. So these can come on out over here. Nice work on this clavicle definition. And move it out slightly and give yourself a nice jugular notch in here. And you can afford to run that right down the center there. So let's go ahead and move these over as well. I notice I have a vert selected in the back. Alright, let's keep these nice and even. As you run your edge loops down here. Okay, oops, you got one down here, so that'll meet up just perfectly. Alright, that, meet that up there. And while that's still selected, my move tool, and just give that some volume. Okay. Going to want to bring these edge loops out and around. You're going to need those additional edge loops through the areas that fold, so don't be afraid to put those in there and shape those up. This needs to be addressed back here. These need to be finished out. Okay, so come up here. Go ahead and give yourself some room. You'll need to shape these up and grab these edge loops and pull them out to make a nice alright, we're going to come right down in here and blow that edge out. And there's an end gone here, so be sure to run it through. And see, you're trying to get the shoulder blade in there. This scapula comes up and around here too, so that's good. Keep working at it. Slow picking, slow going at this point, but you won't regret it once you get a nice mesh done. Because this can be a great library piece for your library, so that you have a solid base mesh to go back to whenever you're called to do an organic model. Okay, we've got a stray here, so right down here under target weld, just grab that, bring it on over and weld it to something. Just want to make sure that you are selected off of that when you're done, and keep your edge loops flowing, nice even lines. Alright, well, you can get the idea. This is not the end of the detail. Look for n-gons, look for triangles and ways to solve those. Make sure that you're getting enough definition in through the joint areas so that you can get the rigging down really well. Okay, you can see a triangle here, and there's no harm in putting additional geometry in your back here. It's still pretty good sized polygons back here. You've got a pole to deal with here. That's pretty easy to deal with. Just come on in here and cut this a different way. And then working that up. And delete the edges you no longer need. Okay. Alright, so I can keep working on this because I think it's going to shape up to be a really nice model for you. And just keep up the good work. But I think you have a clear vision of what needs to happen here. These need to be pulled out a little bit more so they're not the clavicle, or excuse me, the scapula comes down, but it actually shapes back down in and around, so you won't have a large shape. It's just a slight protrusion. Okay, so you can actually afford to bring this down around, bring it out away from that so it doesn't create a deep ridge. Try to keep them as even, nice and even as possible. Alright. Oops, let's get back to finishing this. So I think you can run an additional edge loop. Excuse me, pretty far down here to get this jugular notch. The geometry for the jugular notch in here portrayed pretty well. So let's see where we're going here. Oops, pretty deep there. Probably don't need it that deep. Let's get in here and take a look at that. Alright, and we'll run this down to at least the belly button where you can incorporate that a little bit. Okay. It's going to create an end gun here. I may end up needing that geometry down around here. If he's athletic or running. Okay. Again, you don't want these corners in here, so it's best just to weld those together. And you can't see this, you can see those verts pop together. What I have here is I've clicked on the options next to weld, and it brings up this menu, which I don't think you can see in the capture. But then it has some numbers here and some arrows, and you just dial up on those numbers, and then once it snaps together and welds, then you can hit the check mark, and you will have your corner fixed there. Alright, so let's go ahead and fix that while we're at it. Don't need a lot of geometry back here. Got some triangles here that could probably be fixed. But also, I want to run some edge loops. We got an end gun here. Search out those end guns, make sure that they get taken care of. Okay. Now, a logical place to leave a pole would be at an area like this, where it's buried enough, but also there is a sort of an area like this on the body where much of the musculature comes together and attaches to the hip bone right here, and you do get a nice deep fold in the body. So if you build in your edge